When we came to power.
Now, MP for Ododo-Jodioni, Lante van der Poel, is accusing Youth and Sports Minister designate Isaac Asiamah of lying under oath when he appeared before Parliament's Appointments Committee. The former Youth and Sports Minister says the budget for Ghana's participation in the AFCON 2017, which was put together under his watch, was $3,375 and not $4.4 million, as claimed by Mr. Asiamah. Mr. van der Poel further claimed the figures put out by the minister-designate as bonuses for the Black Stars was inaccurate. This resulted in an exchange between the two during the vetting.
When we came to power, not even when we came to power, during the transition, first meeting I chaired, or we co-chaired, myself and Honorable Ninante, we asked for budget for AFCON. He told us he was going to bring it. Up to now, he hasn't brought it to the treasury team. Mr. Chairman, what I had came from the chief director. So the first one he brought, I made him to sign. It's here. Information copy submitted by the chief director. So 4th January, we are not taking power. 4th January, we are not in power. And this is the budget. This one was $3.9 million for AFCON. And please, the record is here. I've kept all the records, please. The bonus structure is here. For that one, Mr. Chairman, and it's important. Somebody said somewhere that they had slashed it to 8,000. Chairman, what I received, I inherited. 4th of January 2017 is here. Bonus structure, preliminaries, that is the qualification bonus, $10,000 per match. So that is a stage, the qualification stage, that would have meant $30,000 this year. Then quarterfinal, 23 players, $10,000. This document signed by the chief director. Semifinals, $12,000. Third place, $12,000. Finals, $15,000 this year. We have the delegation list. Players 23, technical team 10, extra technical team therapists, extra physiotherapists, extra video analyst, physical trainer, officials, GFA, president, management committee, protocol, media officer, ministry stroke deputy minister, chief director, chief accountant, or purse holder, parliamentary select committee, here too. Scouts, caterers, national security, total 55 delegation. Budgetary summary, pre-tournament $433,015. Tournament phase itself, $3,466,400.
No,
come to the next one. No, please, and here, please here.
Now, Mr. van der Poel says he will submit necessary documents to the Appointments Committee for further probe before Mr. Asiamah's nomination is approved.
I wanted to clear the misconception out in the public domain that I submitted a budget to him which indicated that the Black Stars should be paid $10,000, which is erroneous, which is false. It was not true. I never submitted any budget like that. The GFA proposed the budget and we reviewed the budget, and this is the budget I submitted, the copy here on my phone. This is the total. The total is 3.3. These are the indicators of the budget. Let me even show you, even just look at bonuses. This budget for CAN tournament in Gabon 2017. Tournament phase. Look, bonuses, preliminaries, 23 players, $8,000. You seen it? Quarterfinal, 23 players, $8,000. And then let me show you another. Yes. Look, third place, $8,000. Finals, $8,000. This is the budget I left for him at the ministry. So he was lying. And I'm happy that finally he conceded that as of the 10th of January, when that budget was sent to the Chief of Staff, I wasn't the minister. It means that he did not adhere to this budget I left with him and change the budget to the Chief of Staff. So he should accept responsibility that he changed the budget and he indicated $10,000 for the players. 2, he also gave an inaccuracy here, a statement which was not inaccurate. He said that they paid $15,000 as qualification bonus to the players after the preliminary stage. The players won only 2 matches, so why did you pay 15,000? Why did you pay 50,000? There is something they are hiding. The truth of the matter is that they've paid the players more than the 5,000 they stated to Ghanaian public. They've paid 5,000 to the players as winning bonuses for each match, and they've also paid 15,000 to the players as qualification bonus. So if you put it together, actually the players received 25,000 after the first round, which was more than what we had budgeted for.
Well, the sports minister designate has vowed to fight corruption at the ministry. The sports ministry is often being perceived as a corrupt institution, which ultimately leads to the failure of several ministers. Under the previous National Democratic Congress government, over 8 ministers superintended over the ministry alone in 8 years, with most of them exiting amid scandals and controversy. Appearing before Parliament's Appointments Committee Tuesday, Isaac Asiamah stated that his administration will put in place mechanisms that will ensure that corruption is erased from the ministry.
My party in government is a party of rule of law. It's a party of rule of law. So the law must work. If you are found to have embezzled funds, you have corrupted yourself, to have mismanaged state funds, the law must work. So that is what the law must work. And I'm going to provide leadership that fights against corruption at the ministry. Thank you.
Well, staying with Parliament, the House has approved Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister designate Otiko Jaba after voting to decide her fate. Secured more than 50% of the vote to pave way for her nomination to be approved. The minority abstained from the exercise, which ended a few minutes ago. As you know, the House last week deferred her approval, with the minority citing, among others, her refusal to apologize for describing former President John Mahama as having a wicked heart. Let us go live to Parliament, from where correspondent Joseph Opoku Gakpo joins us live. Good evening to you, Joseph.
Good evening, Israel.
All right, so explain to us how this process panned out, because I understand that the minority initially objected to her approval.
Yes, so the minority, right from the level of the Appointments Committee, has objected to her approval. Eventually, when a report on herself and 5 others came before Parliament, the House itself, the minority indicated that they weren't going to support the approval. Eventually, the Speaker had to initiate the process that would allow members of Parliament to vote on whether they would want to approve her or otherwise, so that then the majority would take the decision. That vote was supposed to come off on Friday. It couldn't come on. It came off just this evening. Initially, when the Speaker, started the processes, the minority leader, Haruna Iddrisu, raised a number of objections. First of all, he raised concerns with the kind of ballot paper that was being distributed for the voting exercise. He insisted that the said ballot paper did not have a seal from the Speaker indicating that this is a valid paper, and so that had to be changed. Some fresh ballot papers were brought in to allow for the voting, and then the process eventually kicked in. The entire voting lasted for well about an hour. When you call, what was happening was that the Clerk of Parliament, with the Speaker sitting there and every other member on the floor, the clerk will call the MPs one after the other. They come pick up the ballot paper, vote whether yes or no for Otiko Jaba, and drop it in the ballot box. And when that was done, the whole counting was actually also undertaken. Even before that, the minority side of the House actually abstained from the voting. When their names were called to come pick up their ballot papers and go vote, none of them went in. And so only the majority side voted. When the counting was done, 152 parliamentarians voted for Otiko Jaba to be approved as Minister of State. No one voted against. All the rest of the MPs abstained. And so based on that, the Speaker indicated that the House has approved Otiko Afisa Jaba's nomination by majority decision, and he went ahead to congratulate her on the House's approval for her to become a Minister of State.
Now, Joseph, I'm curious. Typically in Parliament, when it comes to a vote, I know they usually go by the voice vote. How come this time around they decided that they were going to actually ballot?
And so usually the voice vote happens when the approval is being given by consensus. And the indication is that both sides of the House, speaking of both the majority and the minority, are in support of one particular motion or the other, or one particular approval or the other. And so it's when it's not clear, once the voice vote is given, that the leaders of the House can then call for specific head counts or specific incident of secret voting to allow for that. And in this particular case, we all know that the majority side of the House, they have about 169 members out of the 270 members who are in the House, and then the minority has 101. From what the minority leader had indicated, the entire minority was objecting to the nomination of Madam Otiko Afisa Jaba and the subsequent approval as minister. And so the Speaker eventually didn't have a choice than to put all this to secret voting as per the requirements of the standing orders of Parliament. And that's the process that actually transpired just this evening and ended in the House approving Otiko by majority decision.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo. Now, let's see how it all played out in Parliament in the last 1 hour.
Honorable members, Ms. Otiko Jaba secured more than 50% of the votes cast, and therefore his nomination has been approved by Parliament for appointment as Minister of State in accordance with Article 78, Sub 1. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, I congratulate Ms. Otiko Jaba for having received parliamentary approval for appointment as Minister for Gender, Children, and Social Protection. Honorable members, leadership, if there's nothing untoward, will adjourn.
Speaker, we have just about dealt with the last item. And Speaker, you have pronounced the results of the voting. Mr. Speaker, having finished the business of the day and the time
Order.
10 minutes to 7 o'clock. We've gone beyond 2 o'clock in the forenoon. Mr. Speaker, adjournment, it's your bosom. So you may accordingly adjourn the House till tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Honorable Minority Leader, any comments at this stage? This Honorable House will stand adjourned to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Thank you very much, Honorable members.
Let's go over to Jubilee House, the presidency, where Elton Brobbey is standing by. We're anticipating that there's going to be a swearing in of the new ministers who were just approved. Good evening to you, Elton. Has the swearing in happened yet?
So not yet. I think now what we're waiting for is for the president to come in for the program to start. Some of the approved ministers by Parliament are already seated. I can see from where I'm standing the Minister for Evaluation and Monitoring, Dr. Anthony Akoto, say, also Damboche, Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, also seated. Also is Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng for Environment, Science and Technology. Also Afisa Jaba for Gender, Women and Children's Affairs, also here. the Transport Minister designate, also Samuel Atachia for Works and Housing. These are the ministers who are available as of now. According to the program, 12 of them are expected to be sworn in today by the president, which means that we'll have to wait a little longer before all of them come. The protocol is that when all of them are seated, the vice president will come in together with the chief of staff and some other senior government officials, and then the president will come in for the program to start. It's going to be a very short program. Essentially, they will be given their instrument officially to start work as ministers of state. Then after, the president will, give some remarks. Then after that, somebody on behalf of the 12 ministers will also speak and pledge their support for the task that the president has handed them. So this is how it's going to work out. What is left is for the other ministers to come in, and then the program will start.
All right, Elting. Now, my understanding is that these ministers, ministers designated who are waiting to be, to be sworn in by the president, have been at the Flagstaff House, or have been at the presidency for a while now, including the Women, Gender and the Social Protection Minister. An indication that she knew that essentially she was going to be approved anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, she came in with Professor from Watson about 2 hours ago. The rest, remember that most of them are members of parliament, and they participated in the voting. So they came in about 15 to 20 minutes ago. But Afisa Jabba and Professor from Watson came in quite early, indication that she was sure what was going to happen because of the numbers that the MPP majority have on their side in parliament. Eventually, 152 of them voted for her approval, and now what is left is for the president to give her that instrument of authority to go out there and work. And she's been here, she's been interacting with people. She didn't look worried. She was, full of smiles on her face, excited, awaiting the formal swearing-in ceremony so that she can begin her work as the Minister of State starting tomorrow. That's what we are all waiting for the president to come in and get a program underway.
All right. Thank you very much, Elting Brobe, reporting from the presidency. Now, President Akufo-Addo says government will soon put before Parliament a comprehensive program to deal with land degradation in the country, especially activities of illegal mining. He is counting on the cooperation of traditional rulers to ensure the success of the program. President Akufo-Addo was addressing members of the National House of Chiefs at the Jubilee House.
I'm happy about hearing about the adoption of a new strategy that you have for repositioning the institution and seeing how it can also become relevant. There are many things that we need your assistance of in protecting our environment, in providing that solid base for the education of our youth. There are several areas of national and social concern that your participation and involvement is absolutely critical.
He further stated it would be prudent to engage Ghanaians on the need to have a second chamber of parliament made up of eminent chiefs and traditional authorities.
In the process of defining this new partnership, I think we will have a look there to see the role that you have given yourselves to be arbiters and mediators of important national issues in our country. I think it is something that will be a very great benefit to our country. People are talking even about the possibility of a second chamber where the traditional authorities will sit, look at legislation and bring to bear also their particular local as well as general information and knowledge. I think these are matters that are now part of the public discourse of the country, and all of us are going to have to look at it and decide for ourselves whether it's an efficient way to go forward, whether we can afford it, and whether it will have the impact that we see. But that there is a need for all of us to engage on a discussion as to how best this unique institution. You travel around our continent, and we never come across this array of dignity, of beauty, of standing that we have here in Ghana. And I think it is important for us Ghanaians to continue to cherish this institution and find a way to make this institution a central feature in everything that we're trying to do. And I believe that the definition of this new partnership that is coming is going to respond to this.
Now, talking about further, the 14th, lauded President Akufo-Addo's resolve to work with chiefs in the country. Like Gbagbo Mefia of the Asogli State mentions, he has no doubt the president will make Ghana a better place for all Ghanaians.
In electing you as president, the people of Ghana, I'm happy with the circumstances, have endorsed your agenda for change. Your Excellency, your promise to be president of all Ghanaians and to create opportunity for all is consistent with the requirements of our Constitution. We are happy about the boldness of your vision and the initiatives that you've taken so far. If we do nothing about them 40 years from now, your commitment to paying special attention to the road sector, the railway sector, and the aviation sector is laudable. Your Excellency, we applaud your stand against corruption and your promise to fight it. On our part, Your Excellency, we are reorganizing to support you to resolve all outstanding chieftaincy conflicts to help unite our people. And we are mobilizing on all fronts, all of our chiefs, so we can play a greater role in governance and in the development process.
You're watching Joy News Prime, still to come in the bulletin. 1 week after the tragic death of 6 kindergarten pupils at Bremang Jamra in the Central Region, the school has resumed classes, except most of the pupils say they would rather stay away. Stay tuned. A week after the tragic death of 6 kindergarten pupils in the Central Region town of Bremang Jamra, the rest of the pupils at the Bremang Methodist School say they are unable to concentrate in class as they are haunted by images of the accident. The school reopened for the first time after the tragedy on Monday, with most of the pupils staying away. Joy News' Justice Beidou report from the town. The few who returned to school say they are still scared.
A lonely teddy bear left behind in a rubble by its owner. The child who owned it, it seems, had no time to take it along as the school building he was inside came crashing down. Nobody knows who she was, but this is what remains at the site of one of Ghana's worst school disasters in years. 6 girls dead and 10 others badly injured. The Methodist Primary School in Bremang Jamra has remained closed since Tuesday when the accident occurred. On Monday, February 6, it reopened for the first time. But the rest of the children, haunted by last week's images, are scared to go back.
I knew that when I come to school, my school building can collapse and kill most of the students at here. So I don't know how to describe what's happened that day at here. It has let me stop learning because I also can die at any time.
They have not seen anything like this before. It's their first time, so they feel very fearful. I'm very scared and I'm not even ready to see it. Every time that I imagined it, I cannot even learn. When I look through the book and I close it, because when I learn, I cannot even say even one word that I've learned.
Bremang Jamra itself seemed to be an ancient town in many phases. Most of the structures here are old and run down. Take this structure behind me, for example, which I'm told was built sometime in 1905, making it well over 100 years. Now, it houses more than 400 pupils of the JHS block of the Methodist School here. And yet, it doesn't look like a structure that has seen any renovation of itself in a long time.
Many of the teachers have now fled the town. I tracked down the district director of education, who tells me many more schools in the same district are in worse conditions.
Going round, I have on my phone pictures of many KG schools which are in a deplorable state.
So, how many schools in all did you have the information about in terms of the ones that had deplorable KG structures or structures, the ones that you collated? How many roughly were they?
Roughly, it's about 20 deplorable and about 9 without.
For many of the children I've met here, the memories of last week linger on their minds. But even more seriously, dozens of school structures in this same district are disasters waiting to happen. It begs the question, how safe are school structures for the other millions of children across Ghana? Justice Bedu, Joy News, Breman Jamra.
So 6 children lost their lives in the tragedy last week. But who are they? Joy News' Justice Bedu again tells us more about them in the following infographics. May their gentle souls rest in perfect peace. We're taking a break now. We'll bring you business news thereafter. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're going back to Parliament and its Appointments Committee, where we have the Business Development Minister Designate Mohamed Awal. He's before them. We'll listen in a bit and then we'll come back.
Ghana has some competitive advantage. Look at pharmaceuticals. They have potential that can grow. Real estate, ICT. We might not know the exact amount of it, but when we sit in the office, we can work it out and ensure that we get the funding for that.
I ask this question because, Honorable Nominee, as we speak, preparations of the budget is underway. And if indeed, per the mandate given you, you stated that you are to deliver this 20 big companies within 4 years. That's exactly what you said. So, it shouldn't be in the budget. Ignore him. Thank you very much. So I wanted to know whether some studies have been done on this with respect to the locations, how much it will cost us, so that we can have an idea as to how much is going into it, so that when the budget is presented before the House and we don't see anything about this, we can raise questions and then find answers from some of the things.
So it's private sector led. It's private sector led. All we have to do is ensure that the private sector's competing capacity is enhanced. It's private sector led.
Then my last question, Mr. Chairman. On the 12th January 2017, when His Excellency the President was announcing your nomination, the President first and foremost made a statement, quote unquote, "You are welcome to the political world." Do you remember? You remember? No, I'm laying a solid foundation like you did the other day. Ignore him. The President went on to say that
you are an extremely successful businessman. That was what the president said. And he added that you are very wide exposed in the private sector of this country. He added that you have, yes, tremendous record in the, you are asking of the source. You are not in charge, so I have to ignore you. So the president created the impression that you are a very resourceful business person in this country. Can you prove to us this successful business track record of yours?
He has told us what he has done is in answer to Honorable Okujeto. He gave us, so I'll give you one more chance. Ask one last question and then.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I respect your ruling, and I'll ask a different question. But I wanted to find out from the nominee how successful he has been in the business world. Because the president premised his statements on the fact that he has been a successful business person. And therefore, going into that ministry, he will bring to bear the experience he has accumulated over the period within the sector. That's the reason why I asked the question. It's very important. But because the speaker has ruled, the chairman has ruled, I will go to another area.
All right, you're watching Joy News Prime, and the new ministers who were approved by Parliament are expected to be sworn in at the Flagstaff House or the Jubilee House in the next few minutes. We have live footage there, and immediately it gets underway, we're going to be bringing you live the events as they unfold at the Flagstaff House or Jubilee House. It's at the presidency. The president is yet to walk in there, but the vice president is the chief of staff, and several of the ministers and state officials at the presidency are already gathered, including the ministers who are waiting to be sworn in and given their mandate. In other news, encroachers along rail lines in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, have appealed to the Kufuor-led administration to help them relocate. The appeal comes on the back of the Railways Development Minister's pledge to ensure that people living along rail lines in the country would be made to move. Joe Gatti told members of Parliament's Appointment Committee when he took his turn to be vetted last week that as difficult as it may seem, they would have to clear the encroachers so they can revive the rail service.
This is the Central Business District.
The way we always deal with encroachment, a combination of litigation and negotiation. But I've made the point time and time again that even though I'm a lawyer, litigation is not an option in terms of that I particularly like, because it can take time and it brings bad blood. There are two schools of thought to deal with the encroachment. Some people have argued that instead of spending all your time trying to pass through an area which has been encroached, why don't you create a new path? For example, you go to the outskirts of the town or village and maybe do a short branch to the town. But that's one school of thought. And there are the traditionalists who are against you leaving the traditional alliance. The secondary Kodokrom Takoradi line passed through my constituency. And there's a place called Bakado. And there was a question of encroachment involving a mosque. And in fact, I have a confession to make. I took a lawyer for them, for my constituents, to fight against Ghana Railway Corporation. Little did I know that I'll be sitting in this chair. But we ended up negotiating, and they moved the line a bit, so the mosque is still there. It's negotiation. It's people understanding that it's the benefit of all of us. And so a lot of my time, I can say, will be sitting down with people and just pleading with them and negotiating with them. People have built story buildings near the rail. Are you going to pull down the story building?
Now, Rastus Asare, Lava Firm said Rastus Asare Donko visited the Kumasi Central Business District, where scores of residents have taken over the rail lines for years. Indeed, it's been 10 years since the last train left the city for Takoradi, and the area has become a haven for criminals.
This is the Central Business District of Kumasi. To my left is Adum, and to my right is the Roma Hill and Asafo areas. It's been 10 years since the last train left here for Takoradi. Since then, this part, which forms the hub of railway activities in Kumasi, has become a haven for criminals. It has also been used as defecation grounds for people. The dream of many of the workers who still maintain these tracks and make sure they stay visible above the weeds is that the railway system is revamped. The challenges that confront the revamping of the railway sector, especially in Ashanti region here, is the development of coaches. Many of the coaches you see are almost dead, gone, forgotten, obsolete. You cannot work with them. It will take money to buy some of these new coaches and then to also revamp the railway lines to fix the new coaches that will come in. Another issue of concern is encroachment. Along these lines, you see many kiosks, stores, trading activity. A number of people have turned this place into a whole market, from here to the railway line at the 18 area at Kejetia, to Fumeswa, to Aswanse quarters. Lots of encroachers. So let's find out from the people who live here and who have been living on the tracks for some time what they think of the development of the railway lines and their possible movement in the near future. Now, Sana Uhuno say aban ewo nsusuye se obetimi ayama train asafa habiem na timi edi dwuma.
Oh, sane aban boy saade a ye na ye beda na se kire se ebla na railway ye adwuma no na ye taade kama na ha so ye neat. Nti se aban ye na adwun so obeya ama ye de a na ye beda na se. So obeya ama ye.
Well, she said they will be happy because when the trains were working, a business was booming, they could sell around this place and make money. So they will be happy if it will be developed. Now, another chaser was said, "Muna be a move to free tracks is need me ACC and no send a mumuno."
You are doing it while I do soon. You do soon, Tisa, obey my dear, and yes, Rensenka, obey her baby, Kakramaye. Neja, yes, we stay on Neja, and said to me a day, Aquayano, because ye kunu ni bi na biso wonso a oni kunu eno ani na dwuma ya na ye ne modern money ade ade intinu se in case obeye railway la na maye dia na ye wonya ba bi kakra maye ne yetena ho ye adwuma nsa ha ye soja ne ade ade visa be boy.
Well, she says that they are happy with the idea, but then this is where they make their daily bread. So if they will revamp the sector, they are thinking of relocation. If government will find a place for them before they move them out from this place, they will be happy.
Just a train of boy, and I come to Fobacrum. I hope one film crossing in our Dominiama Beton. I hope also back. I'm a toy idea. I hunt many veggie.
Well, she is happy with the idea that the whole railway system will be revamped. The trains will work once again here. He says it promotes business because people come in from the hinterland, bring goods and services, and so she's happy with the idea. Now, another stressor was you move on block coin na kosi hey near yan fofro and no say na uhuno.
They will say that I don't know your hand. Ya makwan ye nton niama wo anya say track no dade asesa nyina ya makwan ya adwuma no ko fom na ma ye nyina betena na nyina bebi e befa na ye de afa chese bra ye wo overhead ha say na ye be overhead no on ma ye tias don be ye overhead nto obutu ye na je ye nyina papa mu betena ha say ti sa na ese ba
je kanene train wa je na adwuma fo ba papa be di dwa mfu krum bebre so be di dwa ntene eye
Na basa was ye move free ha ko mo be ya was mo tu bia na o mo timi ye adwuma na no sen na mo be hu.
Fi se tuni ye adwuma pa de untimi tranya adwuma man yi. Fi se ha nyina ye real for asase. Te ba de bitu. Ba bia o se ko bia na ya kwa ko pe ba bia tranya adwuma.
Right, Love FM's Erastus Asare Donko with that report. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking you over now to Jubilee House, where the president is swearing in the latest batch of ministers. Let's listen in.
That I will, to the best of my judgment, at all times when required, freely give my counsel and advice. The good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Ghana. And that I will not directly or indirectly reveal any matters that shall come to my knowledge. The discharge of my duties. And committed to my secrets. As minister. So help me God. The last is the oath of secrecy. I holding the office of do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my official duties except as may be required for the discharge of my official duties or as may be specially permitted by law. So help me God.
Right, we'll be going back later on to the Jubilee House when the presidents begin to speak. But in other news, some residents of Goma, a suburb of Somanya in the Eastern region, are threatening to buy guns to protect themselves from the incessant robbery incidents there. According to the resident, every passing day appears to bring a new robbery case on the streets of Ogoma. 3 shops, including a Coca-Cola depot, have been raided in the last few days. The recent crime wave has residents questioning the ability of the police to find a solution to the problem. Journalist Latif Idris visited the community and has come through with this report.
Ogome was a relatively peaceful community until 3 weeks ago when incidences of armed robbery began to increase. The robbers have been relentless in their attacks on the community and its environs, leaving residents scared and worried. A manager of the Coca-Cola shop here, the latest place to be robbed, recounted to Joy News how he lost over 8,000 Ghana cedis.
Guys told me that they went to Sales and kept some money inside their drawer here. And the next day, before they came to the shop, they saw that the shop has been open and somebody has took the money from the drawer.
The frustrated residents believe the inaction of the police is to blame for the crime wave. The Somanya District Command, under whose jurisdiction the Ogome community falls, has placed surveillance on 4 ex-convicts who finished serving their terms in the Akuse prison last December. The command believes these guys might be linked to the recent crime wave within Ogome and its environs. The district commander, ASP Isaac Oting, has been telling us how the police intends to fish out these individuals to make Ogome safe again.
Information that we are having shows that, and from our own statistics, from our observation and my intelligence, prior to their release to town, the whole town, Somanya Township, was very calm. Crime activity were low, but since they were released, we have the pocket of criminal activities going on. And for now, I cannot link it directly to the 4. But if you that their presence has something to do with it, Either be motivation to those who are around, or they see them as their heroes who are operating around their name. But since they are released, they have a very low crime rate. But since after they are released to the town, the criminal activity increase. Not as much as we think, but the pocket of criminality, we believe it might be linked to their release in town. Either they are motivated or they are recruiting new boys to do, but we will not yet get them direct as those four who are, but we believe that they are operating around the roads for that they came to town. That believe that there is a small pocket of criminal activities in town.
Some of the frustrated residents say arming themselves is the surest way of ending the criminality. This was exactly where the robbers cut and they made their way into the container and made away with her monies and some goodies in this container. And she's been telling us how terrified residents in this community are.
When I came here, we are in fine. But nowadays, we are facing a lot of problems, like Arombi. If you are saying something or you are asleep, the young guys and the people, they don't want to work. So they will come and teach you. If you are not clever, they will teach you. For me like this, they catch my store before. And I went to police station to report there. They say that unless I bring the fellow that he steal me. Nga wenya chwa pepe acho lo imini mi das pio no le ni pepe ji inga skala en ma hetu ika no ko bi police station ya ki no le ika no ya police station police o ma ba na ba ke flon ka ko ke ho. What
you are saying is that you are planning to get a gun?
Yes. I'll buy my
and now you'll be killing this.
If I see you, I'll kill you. That's all. Then I'll go sleep quietly. Morning, then they can't take the dead body. Finish. They don't know the person where he kill him because he be criminal.
An opinion leader and former assembly member of the area, Comfort Mamle Okine, is however urging the police and the residents to work closely together to find solution to the crime wave.
We want the police to help us because the crime is still going on. And there are a lot of robberies, especially the mango farms. You know, we have a lot of the mangoes here. We grow them here. At night, they go to people's farm with cars and all that to harvest it, to steal them.
Until the police finds and prosecute the 4 ex-convicts at the center of the crime wave, residents of Ogome and its environs would continue to be at the mercy of the criminal gangs. Latif Idris, Joy News, Ogome, Somenya in the eastern region.
And now the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission says it expects to start the construction of Ghana's first nuclear power plant by 2018. A move it says should permanently solve Ghana's energy crisis. The Commission's nuclear power program, which was approved by the Kufuor administration in 2008, followed a period of load shedding in 2007. A return to the days of Dumso as it became known between 2012 and 2016 got the GAEC reviving the conversation again. The head of the commission, Professor BJP Nyako, tells Joy FM Super Morning Show host Kojo Yangsing he is confident the current administration will support a realization of the nuclear power plant.
I'll finish almost phase 1, which is maybe by September, everything. So this year, we are going to enter phase 2, which is bidding, contracting, and construction of the nuclear power plant. So we have to bid it, and we have to get the contractual agreements, go to Parliament for approval. Then we give to the vendor, and then the vendor start the construction of the nuclear power plant from 2018 onwards. And then you will see, and the construction normally takes between 3 to 6 years, depending upon how fast we move, and then the nuclear power plant will be available.
So we're looking at a possible power plant up and running and producing its first megawatt of electricity sometime in 2025?
Yeah, from there going, thereabout.
2025.
Yeah, maybe but in the roadmap, we have set it 2029 because you know this up and downs, we don't know, but you can do it earlier than we have anticipated.
The target
yeah,
is 2029.
Yeah. Now we are in serious
collaboration or talks with two major nuclear power countries, and one of them has promised to or propose to build one plant, which is about 1,000 megawatts. One is 1,000 megawatts, and then the other country too has proposed building two, and that one, each one is 1,200 megawatts.
He also said President Akufo-Addo's one district, one factory policy could prove challenging if there is no consistent energy supply to the industries.
We can only have sufficient energy when we get into nuclear, because nuclear is more environmentally friendly than its counterpart like coal. Most of the energy that we have now is basically for domestic consumption, and we need energy for industrialization. So, for example, I was telling people, if we embrace the concept of one district, one factory, then there's no way you can leave energy out, because energy is just ability to do work. And if you want the factory to work, then the first thing that you have to do is to get them sufficient energy and also affordable energy. Because sometimes the energy will be there, but it will not be affordable. If the factory try to use it, they will run into bankrupt and you have to close down. To get about 700, 300 megawatts of electricity for vehicle to come online, you need base load energy.
We're taking a break now. Bring you entertainment next.